to serve has no weight, yet I have held it in my hands. I will commit to carry it close to my heart until my country is safe and the anguish of those less fortunate has been soothed. The call to serve is at once invisible and always present. And for those who choose to answer the call, for their country, for their fellow man, for themselves, it is the most powerful force on earth. America's Navy, a global force for good.
ESPN Radio and on ESPN.
No need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Slim Chicken Studio. It's Old School and David Hayes. We're the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Call or text at any point in time during the show today. 850-215-6290. That's 850-215-6290. We're going to be playing trivia here in the opening segment. If we don't get a caller in the first segment, we've got the whole show today. No guest with us today. It's just going to be getting you ready for NFL Week 7, college football Week 8. Should be Fan Friday. I thought we were going to have Kyle Albritton. Have not spotted him to this point, so maybe he's in the chat somewhere. What's up, Ross Robertson? He says, what's up, fellas, on Facebook. After the afternoon, we'll be going on at 4:30 today. Tell you about the big games going on in the sports world. Make some picks there. Defend your stance. Got some questions lined up for Week 7 of the NFL season. Maybe make some bold predictions. We've got college football games, NFL games to get into, and some great local high school football content. Tough night in Atlanta last night, or in LA last night. We'll be in Atlanta tomorrow night for Game 6 of the NLCS. But let's play some trivia. Brought to you by Merchant Management Group, the only local credit processing company in our area. They could eliminate your fees. 850-774-0664. The trivia question for today is Terry Crews was selected in the 11th round of the 1991 draft. Which team picked him? Old School, what do you know about Terry Crews?
First time I saw Terry Crews was in a commercial for the Super Bowl. And I think it was for like Office Depot or somebody, and they had a commercial that they ran during the Super Bowl where they had the office linebacker. And if you made a bad decision, he would run in and tackle you. And then from there, he went on to star in different movies and television shows. He's kind of famous for his peck move. But apparently was a heck of a football player at one time, drafted by the Dodgers or the Rams in '91.
I spent a while.
Oops.
Old School just gave I think I had the mic turned off, so we'll see. We do have someone on the line to play trivia. Did you hear the trivia answer?
No, I didn't.
All right, good stuff there. Terry Crews was selected in the 11th round of the 1991 draft. Which team picked him?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, what sport are we talking about even?
Oh, we're talking about NFL football. Which team selected him in the 1991 NFL draft? He was selected in the 11th round.
Terry Crews?
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. No idea. I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Ooh, that is not the answer that we're looking for, but thank you so much for the call, Mr. Hintz.
Thanks, David.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was Caleb Hintz's dad on the line. Kyle, I see you calling right now. You're going to have to give me a second. Let's see if we can get you on from this angle right here. No, we cannot. All right. So, You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Glad that I accidentally turned the mic off there with a little slight move of the finger. The red thing to the pot kind of just jumped off when I hit it. Kyle, just hang on the line for me for a few more minutes. The Dodgers win Game 5 yesterday, old school. It was 11-2 in Game 6. We'll be in Atlanta Saturday. That game time right now is set to be at 4:08. If the Astros win tonight in Game 6 of the ALCS, it will actually be at 7:08. So we'll have a slight time change. You can catch that game right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We've got Ian Anderson versus Max Scherzer tomorrow night. But let's stick to what happened last night and Chris Taylor and Pollock and how influential they were in that 11-2 ball game. That big win for the Dodgers last night.
It was a huge win for the Dodgers last night. It's funny how we've all talked about the momentum of a previous night's win or a big play, whatever, but it just seems like no matter whichever team has the momentum going in, what we perceive as the momentum going into the next game, the other team comes out firing. And, we were all excited. We had Max Fried on the mound. Looking forward to it. He's been so good the last 11 or 12 starts. Everything was looking our way, and then the offense for the Dodgers erupted. Chris Taylor hits 3 home runs. They were just, Max was putting the ball over the center of the plate, and they were lighting them up. So it was just a night where whatever could go wrong went wrong, and that's what happens sometimes in baseball. And one night when everything went right, well, you and I talked about this yesterday, Dave. When the balls go the right way for us one time, the next night it can go the other way. And last night it just went the other way for the Braves. But the best part about it is we got 2 more opportunities. And I was watching the game last night. I tried my trick of going outside. It didn't work. But I was just really disappointed, upset. And then I thought to myself, I remember back in July, we were like, man, I'm just not sure that the Braves are even going to make the playoffs. And here we are now. We're in the NLCS. We got a chance to go to the World Series. Why am I complaining? I should be very happy, and I still think we have a good chance.
If we didn't have a caller on, whatever.
Get him a damn pacifier.
That's what old school needs is a pacifier. We'll get into that in a few more seconds. Let's get to the phone line here. Caller, you're on the air. Gordon, how's it going?
Good, thanks.
All right, Terry Crews was selected 11th in the 11th round of the 1991 draft. Which team picked Terry Crews?
Was it the Rams?
It was the Los Angeles Rams. Congratulations, Gordon. You got it right. Shoot me a text over to 850-215-6290. Tell me which restaurant out of Maddie's La Casita, Off the Hook Bar and Grill, Paparazzi Gourmet Deli and Pizza, Simply Seafood, and Trigos. Tell me which one of those 5 restaurants that you want. Shoot me a text, 850-215-6290.
Thank you.
All right, Gordon is the big winner today. He got the answer correct, so we'll have more trivia Monday. We still have Beat the Underdogs that we'll be playing here in the next segment. The game for us tonight is going to be the Memphis Tigers at the UCF Golden Knights. Some implications there in the American Athletic Conference. Last night on Beat the Underdogs, Professor Plum was the only person to pick the Cleveland Browns, so he won $25 to Rudy's Barbecue. Professor Plum, thank you so much for playing Beat the Underdogs. We did it a little different yesterday, allowing text to be involved, and we'll continue to roll with that. I'll do 3 to 5 eligible contestants for Beat the Underdogs. The one thing I wanted to talk about with the Atlanta Braves, yes, I do consider that this season is a success even without getting to the World Series, with the moves that were made, with winning the NLDS Series, and just winning the National League East in general. I think that that's a success. But the thing is they've got us to this point of being up 3-1, now 3-2 in this series. And so I don't think that you can look at it like how I was looking at it anymore. You know what I mean? It with having the way that the NLCS played out last year and squandering a 3-1 lead, you've got to get it done this year. I understand Acuna is not on the field with us. We've got injuries we're dealing with as well. But at this point, you got to 3 games. You've got to get it done within 1 game. You know, 1 out of 2 games in Truist Park, you've got to get it done. It's a great story that the Braves had, but it's down to the nitty gritty now, and we've got to we've got to make some things happen here. But last night, it really went through Pollock and Chris Taylor. Chris Taylor with 3 home runs. The Dodgers, Chris Taylor, and A.J. Pollock are just a third pair of teammates with multiple home runs in the same postseason game. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Will Myers did it last season for the Padres. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig did it in 1932 for the New York Yankees. Chris Taylor, first player in Major League Baseball postseason history with a 3-home run game when facing elimination. This is also the 12th 3-home run game all time in Major League Baseball postseason history. And the second by a Dodger, which was Kiki Hernandez. He had a 3-home run game for the Dodgers in Game 5 of the 2017 NLCS against the Cubs there. So their bats were absolutely working. And another thing, it's a curse to hit a home run in the first inning of the ball game. We've seen the Dodgers do it twice, and in both of those games, the Braves worked their way back into that game and got the W. Last night, it didn't take long at all. We felt great after the Freddie Freeman home run, and that was all she wrote for the Atlanta Braves, offensively speaking. Kudos to Max Fried for fighting back early, to get to the 4th inning there, and to pitch as well as he did for the turmoil that he faced. We need a big game at the house from Ian Anderson, but he's going up against Max Scherzer. Old School, do you really believe that the Braves can get it done in that first game, in Game 6 in Atlanta?
Yeah, I do believe. I mean, I know Ian has struggled with the first inning problems, but the best thing is he's at Truist Park. He's at his familiar place. I know that there's going to be tons of butterflies flying around. He's just going to have to let them fly in formation, but I just like him. He's got so much composure. He did not have a good outing out there in his last start, but usually after a bad outing, he's able to come back out and put a good outing out. So, and that's all we need. Scherzer is Scherzer, but I don't think Scherzer is the old Scherzer. I think he's the new Scherzer, and he's 35, 36 years old, 37. I mean, I'd rather face him now than 4 or 5 years ago. So. We just have to go get them. It's baseball. I mean, we're talking about the NLCS. We should be having to face the best of the best, and we are with the Dodgers. So it's a challenge, but I think the Braves are up to it, and I'm looking forward to it. I think the Braves, with their mentality, they like the challenge and they're up for it.
All right, we got Jake on the line wanting to talk some Braves. Jake, welcome to the Slim Chicken Studio, and happy birthday, brother.
Appreciate it, brother. For one, that pacifier alert got me again. But just, I got to say, the Braves fan base are definitely some bipolar people. When we're up, it's the greatest thing ever. When we're down, we're blaming everybody. And the whole notion of, we weren't supposed to be here, I'm not for that. We're here. Something don't get talked about enough is the deadline moves and the fact that the outfield bats they went and got and the production they've given, they didn't even give up any top prospects for those guys, as opposed to the Schwarber deal or the Gallo deal or the Barrios deal with the Blue Jays. I mean, those guys gave up, good prospects, and AA went for it, gave them a chance. Now we're here, and, if we blow the lead again, I think it is what it is, because if you told any Braves fan we'd be up 3-2 going home with now a fully rested Anderson, because they only threw a few innings the other night, possibly the best Game 7 pitcher ever to throw an Game 7. The bullpen's rested, and Scherzer came out with a dead arm the other day, wanted to come out of the game, so that should say something. The ball's in the Braves' court, and you're here, so might as well take it. So I like the chances where we're at.
I love it, Jake. Thanks so much for the call, bud.
Yep.
So, great points there. And I'm with him. So we're not necessarily supposed to be there in a sense, right? If you're listening to the media and the 88 wins that the Braves had compared to everyone else. But like he said, though, we are here, and it is what it is. And we do have a lead in the series. Get it done, but if you squander it away, like he said, the bipolar fans, they're going to be right there with it. And this has been a bipolar series. Us especially, Old School, I know that after the game where the Dodgers won, what was it, 9-4 9-2 in that game, right? No, that was us. In game 3 when they won, all right? And we were all over it. Well, the momentum has officially shifted for the Dodgers. Then they come back, the Braves do, and put a whooping 9-2 in that game for them to win and kind of be in the driver's seat. But baseball is such a crazy game, and we're seeing it a little bit there in the Astros and the Red Sox series. We're definitely seeing it here. Who knows what's going to happen? It's not game by game anymore. It's inning by inning.
It is, and it's just it's what baseball should be. I mean, when you get down to this time of the year, you've played 162 games in some cases, and others 161. You fought your way through a divisional playoff series, and now you are as a team. You can't help but believe that you are deserving to be there, and why not us? And I think that's where we're at. I certainly feel better about where we're at this year than what I did last year. I thought we were just, it was amazing that we were able to be there. And I'm not worried about what happens if we don't win. Mm-hmm. I'm just excited about what will happen when we do win. That's the way I'm trying to approach it.
That is a far cry from a normal old school mantra. Normally it's pessimistic to the bone. So you've got some optimism riding. That's good news, Braves fans. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, right with the Afternoon Underdogs here. Jake also brought up a very good point about the moves made, and not just the moves and who we brought in, but who we let go to get these guys. There was no big names in there. You talk about Pablo Sandoval for Rosario. We had to give up some cash as well, but to get those guys and the statistics that they put up defensively and offensively has been, it's the reason that we're here at this point. And then you bring up, well, what if Acuna was here? That's great, but if Acuna was still here, would our offense have, or not our offense, would our roster have the depth that it has at this point in time?
Yeah, I mean, we would have loved to have had Ronald, but things happen, and once they happen, then you have to turn the page. You've got to go forward. I loved what AA did at the end of the trade deadline to go out and get what we got. The way that he executed it was phenomenal. But the thing that I have been thinking about the last couple of days is, we've got some big-time signings that we need to do in the offseason. Freddie is still up in the air with, are we going to re-sign him? And if we, these extra home games of, 43,000 people paying a lot of money to come to these games, that's a nice shot in the arm for the owner of the Braves, and maybe this will help. This will help them open that checkbook up and get Freddie signed.
Get Freddie signed. That should be. It doesn't matter if you win the World Series, if you lose here in the NLCS to the Dodgers. That should be the overwhelming theme. Get Freddie signed. All right, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Auburn has a bye week this week, but they're taking on Ole Miss next week. We'll have that game right here on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to be right back, and when we do get back, we've got some local news for you as well as some more headlines from the sports world last night.
My forecast overnight, mostly clear skies, 60 to 65, light variable winds expected. Water temperature in the Gulf 81. Watch out for the rip currents this weekend. They're going to be kind of strong. Mostly sunny skies Saturday in the low 80s, northeast wind about 10. Mostly clear in the low 60s Saturday night. A weather front coming in Sunday and Monday with some clouds, showers, and thunderstorms. Highs in the low 80s each day. Have a great and safe weekend. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, this is meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
The Coach James Hale Show.
Bo Nix looked really good, played extremely well. Who's the best quarterback right now in the SEC?
You got Bryce, obviously, at Alabama. You got Matt Corral at Ole Miss. And now I think it's just a matter of who the number 3 is.
I got in Bo Nix. 2 games on the road. He used to be a nightmare on the road. He's playing lights out right now on the road.
Weekday morning, 7 to 9 on 104.3.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Offered Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway is your authorized Goodyear and Michelin dealer.
Did you know that brake fluid absorbs moisture over time? Moisture contamination can lower your fluid's boiling point, leading to overheating and poor braking performance. Offered Tire and Service Center. We recommend having your brake fluid flushed every 2 years.
Alford Tire and Service Center on Tyndall Parkway in Callaway. Locally owned for the past 35 years and worth the drive from anywhere.
Okay, divers, this one's for you. Not that kind of diver, this kind. Well, maybe you want to be a diver. Anyway, here's the easiest way. Not many people know that not only can you dive at the amazing Vortex Spring in Ponce de Leon, but you can get certified there too, all the way through instructor. And veterans, here's the best part. Now is proud to announce that you can use your GI benefits to pay for lots of it. Diving is awesome. It's relaxing and it's incredibly therapeutic. Whether you're rehabbing from injuries, relieving stress, or managing PTSD, it's time to get in the water in Vortex. It's awesome for families, couples, or just you. Weightless like an astronaut, coupled with the amazing gin clear water at Vortex Springs, surrounded by marine life. Are you kidding? What are you waiting for? Get hooked up with Billy Walls, now instructor at Vortex, today, online at vortexspring.com. And you want to know why?
We just do things different round here.
Indeed we do, ma'am. Indeed we do.
We are live and local. From Camp Helen State Park to the historic Martin Theater.
Definitely time to let our hair down and have some fun.
It's the Afternoon Underdogs. Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Slim Chicken Studio, still with the Afternoon Underdogs. It's 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, and we're going to play Beat the Underdogs.
Can you beat the Underdogs?
All right, so here's what we're going to be doing. Memphis at UCF. You just send me your text, or you can call in 850-215-6290, but send a text over or call. First 3 to 5 people that we get the score from and who they got winning will be winning $25 to Barbaritos. And on top of that, for the weekend, 25 to that boot store. So 25 to Barbaritos, 25 to not the, but that boot store. And Memphis, UCF, old school. Who do you have pinned to win this game? And then I'll pick the score.
I got Memphis.
All right, Memphis. I'm leaning kind of to UCF just because they're at the bounce house. They're at the house tonight, but we'll see. These games are always highly entertaining between these two teams. So to give you a score on this one, I'll go 33-31. 33-31 Memphis. So shoot us who you got winning, Memphis or UCF. 30, and then give your score with it closest to the score, and the correct answer for the winner will get 25 to Barbaritos, $25 to not the but that boot store. Let's go to the world of the NFL, where the Browns and Case Keenum and Dearness Johnson got the win last night. Surprising me, surprising a lot of the football world. 17-14, jumped out to that 10-0 kind of jump start for him last night, and Dearness Johnson, what a great story this kid's got. If I can grab my phone, I'll talk about some of the cool things that's happened with him. First off, he had a career high 146 rush yards in that win over the Broncos last night. Up to that point, he had 11 rush yards this season and 198 career rush yards overall prior to this game. Now, he was playing, he played college for South Florida, and then he went to the AAF, and he DM'd just about every team.
Trying to get a
tryout. Man, the phone is blowing up today,
I know that
guys.
he wasn't drafted, so I mean, it's just a great story.
That was his first NFL start. He had the 22 carries, 146 yards, a touchdown to go along with it. A lot of people picked him up in the fantasy world to be able to pull it off, and I was one of those people who benefited. And I normally don't like playing players that are playing in the Thursday night football game, but he worked out well last night. Really cool story, and just what a great what a great job to get that done. And kind of when Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb get back, maybe next year we'll see him playing for another team.
I mean, he certainly put some good film on tape. Also, I mean, Case Keenum. I mean, he just continues to do it. It's amazing how many times the guy's been around the league, so many different teams, but when he gets his opportunity to play, he plays well. Big time run there to get the first down. He was definitely giving it his all, and very impressed by him, and that's why you pay money to have an experienced backup quarterback. And it certainly paid off for the Browns last
Oh, you're talking about Case Keenum, yeah, bringing a spotlight on him. And it was every AAF team that he DM'd after leaving South Florida. Ended up landing with Orlando, which I think they were undefeated that year that they had the AAF. Let's get to the phone line. We've got a guy who wants to play Beat the Underdogs. You're on the air. Who do you have for Beat the Underdogs tonight?
This is Ryan Moore. I'm calling. I've got UCF 35-24.
UCF 35-24. All right. Hey, do me a favor and shoot a text over to 850-215-6290 so that I have your number and give you a call if you're the winner.
Sure will. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan, for the call. Appreciate you guys listening. 850-215-6290 is the number to call. We'll still take a couple of texts. We still got room for 3 to 4 players on Beat the Underdogs today. But huge last night for the Browns to get that win when no one expected them to do it with all of the injuries they were dealing with. Teddy Bridgewater now has 5 interceptions in his last 3 games. He had 1 yesterday. 0 interceptions in his first 4 games. He's also now 0 of 5 with 2 interceptions on passes of 30 or more yards in the air over the last 2 weeks. They need to get that settled down. Him and Sam Darnold, you know, they got off to such good starts, and we're like, all right, looks like they kind of found the home. And old school, you can definitely attest to Sam Darnold not working out. I'm not saying that it's not working out, but it's went kind of back into your favor on how you were thinking that Sam Darnold was going to work out with the Panthers. Your Hawks last night absolutely demolished Luka Doncic and the Mavericks 113-87. Trae Young, Ice Trae, had 14 assists in that win. That's the most in a season opener by any Hawks player since Mookie Blaylock did it. Wow. He had 16 assists in the 93-94 season opener against my Indiana Pacers. The Miami Heat also destruction over there. It was in Miami, but Milwaukee only 95 points. Giannis had 15 points in 23 minutes. Final score in that game was 137-95. And Steph Curry cooked the Clippers last night with a flurry in the first quarter. Steph had 45 points, 10 rebounds in that 115-113 win over the Clippers last night. Curry now has the 3rd most 45-point games by a player at age 33 or older, only trailing Michael Jordan and Bernard King. MJ has 11, Bernard King has 8, Steph Curry has 6. SMU last night all over the Green Wave of Tulane. It was 55-26. SMU had 300 passing yards and 100 rushing yards in the first half against Tulane last night. They're the first team with 300 pass yards, 100 rush yards in any half versus any FBS team this season. The last team to do it, Alabama, December 5th last season against LSU.
Why did you have to put that in there?
I didn't put that in there. You can thank Elias Sports Bureau and ESPN Stats and Info and their Twitter. So we've got 2 players for Beat the Underdogs to this point. I haven't checked the text, guys. Not yet. We've me and Old School have Memphis winning that game 33-31, and Ryan Warren has UCF 35-24. Arnold girls win golf in Bay County, and Arnold's boys and girls win swimming and diving and win their district title. Mosley has been crowned the district champion after their win against Choctaw in volleyball. They're the 5A District 1 champs now. The Dolphins swept the Indians 3-0 in the matchup there. Old School, going back to that NFL game last night on Thursday Night Football, what do you think it was for the Browns that pushed them over the top? Was it Case Keenum? Was it the game by Dearness Johnson, or was it something else?
Well, I think it was a combination of the two. I think Case Keenum played very controlled. He didn't try to do more than what he could, but having a running back go off the way that Dearness did, that certainly helped. It took a lot of pressure off of Case Keenum. I just think that I don't know if the Broncos just thought, with the injuries that they had, that this was going to be a pretty easy game. They didn't take it as they didn't get up for it. But anytime you're playing an NFL team in their home stadium, you better be ready to play. And apparently, the Broncos were not. And as I mentioned earlier, when a lot of people were talking about this Teddy Bridgewater going to the Broncos and what a good move it was, my point always has been that he does not have a super strong arm. And when he tries to throw the ball down the field, he doesn't really have the ability to really push it in there. And, the interceptions have jumped up and bit him. It's a heck of a story that he is. He's a good person, a good quarterback, but certainly a challenge for them, particularly when it gets windy in Denver. It's going to be a challenge for him to push the ball down the field.
All right, we've got room for one more on Beat the Underdogs. We've got Ryan, who's got UCF 35-24. Chef Ross, UCF 27-24. Ethan Hewitt, UCF 45-41. And then Corey from Panama City Beach has UCF 45-32. Reminder, if you guys do win, you can only actually win a prize. You can play Beat the Underdogs as much as you want, but you can only win a prize once every 30 days per the rules. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs right here on a beautiful Friday afternoon, a fan-less Friday. 850-215-6290 is the number to call. We're going to be right back.
The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is designed specifically for sports fanatics like you. The sports content you demand is always on. Live stream our national and local sports talk anywhere you go. Reach us on all social media. You can also be a part of the show. Call and text into our studios. Plus, up-to-the-minute weather and traffic maps. The new app from 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is available at the Apple Store and Google Play.
Certified Gearhead Motorsports on Panama City Beach, directly across from Pete Edwards Field. Certified Gearhead Motorsports offers full synthetic oil changes for just $30 plus tax. Diesel synthetic oil changes only $85 plus tax. Certified Gearhead Motorsports. They do it all, from oil changes to engine overhauls. Call now for an appointment. 850-532-8783. Let them work up an estimate or quote of the repairs that you need. Call now. 850-532-8783.
Are you ready for some football? So are the folks at That Boot Store. They have the latest in Western outfits, along with brand names like Wolverine, Timberland Pro, and many others, including Ariat and Old Western for kids. That Boot Store loves the Noles, the Gators, the Tigers, the Bulldogs, and Joe's favorite, Roll Tide. That Boot Store, your team's favorite Western shop, next to Billboard Kia on 15th Street. Open Tuesday to Thursday, 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember what Joe always said, keep Jesus in your heart every day.
Beef O'Brady's 2 for $20. Steak is back and desserts are in, like Beef's crispy funnel fries. Pick a starter or dessert to share, plus 2 entrees like USDA choice cut sirloin, all for $20. Beef O'Brady's, what'll you choose?
What's up? It's David Hayes from the Afternoon Underdogs and a big fan of Lynn Haven Beef O'Brady's. Call or order online to get their amazing food to go, or stop by and dine in to enjoy their relaxing atmosphere. Beef O'Brady's, good food, good sports, and great friends of ESPN Northwest Florida.
Hi folks, it's Tracy with Tracy's Fine Jewelry and Coin and Bullion Reserves. Did you know that we do more than just sell some of the finest jewelry in town? We can engrave on your wedding band, locket, Yeti cup, or almost anything. Need your watch battery changed? We can do that too. Our expert will even evaluate your coin collection. And of course, we always pay top dollar for your old gold and silver jewelry. See, there's a lot more to Tracy's Fine Jewelry than a lot of pretty sparkly things. Come and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
The mission?
Your mission, should you decide to accept it.
Save the panhandle from boring cookie-cutter radio. Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs. Live in the Slim Chicken studio.
The state will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Slim Chicken Studio. This is going to be after the afternoon. What's on TV tonight and on the radio? We don't have anything going on tonight, but after the afternoon underdogs, we'll have Greeny here. But we've got a lot of big games in the sports world. Boston Red Sox, Houston Astros, Game 6 of the ALCS. The Astros looking to close it out tonight. Houston's 9-1 win in Game 5 was their 5th win by 5 or more runs this postseason. They're the 5th team all-time with 5 wins by 5 or more runs in a single postseason, and that's the first. And I was surprised when I read this, the first since the 2015 Royals. The 2015 Royals don't stand out like that to you, but the postseason run that they had was impressive. They were another one of those teams that just got hot at the right time. We had a call from Ryan in the break, and he was talking about backup quarterbacks. Do you need to bring up anything more than Super Bowl 49 and Big Nick Foles? There should be a little bit of a pause in between Big and Nick there, but we're not going to get into that.
He got a statue out of it.
He got a statue out of it. Next man up is the quote he left me with, and he's absolutely right. And that was the situation last night in Cleveland. But one thing I wanted to bring out is the Cleveland Browns really focused on their offensive and their defensive lines, and that was where the game was won last night. And then Von Miller getting hurt did not help the Denver Broncos by any means. But Dearness Johnson helped my fantasy team out in a big way last night, and I'm appreciative of you. What do we need to see from? Who do you want to win this series, old school? It's got to be the Red Sox, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't cheer for the Astros, so yeah, the Red Sox. And the interesting part is, early on, after the Astros won the first couple of games, and they won them as you're talking about here with, by 5 runs or more, they were talking about how, the only way that the Boston can really get into this thing is they're going to have to outscore the Astros, which then they went on their Grand Slam trip where they had 3 Grand Slams and just, it lit it up for 2 games. And now the Astros are back. It's just amazing to me how in a 7-game series, you can have these giant momentum swings where one team is hot at the plate and the other team is not, and it swings back and forth. In this case, I'm pulling like crazy for the Red Sox. I don't like the Astros. I hate it that they're going back to Houston. That's such a weird ballpark to play in, because just that short left field fence is just a joke. They might as well go play in a high school stadium as far as the depth of the outfield. But it's just, I'm pulling for the Red Sox like crazy.
All right. Well, I think a lot of the world is pulling, or a lot of the baseball fans out there are pulling for the Red Sox. It's going to be a tough climb, though.
Oh, you're talking about a tough task. This is a tough task.
Oh, yeah. Luis Garcia on the mound, not a huge sample size. When you look through that Boston lineup and their numbers against him, the best guy in the lineup is Alex Verdugo, who is 2-3 against him in his lifetime with a .667 average. Hunter Renfroe, small sample size as well. Kyle Schwarber hasn't seen him. Christian Arroyo hasn't seen him. So there's a lot going on there. And then on the flip side of things, that Houston lineup has seen Eovaldi quite a bit, and you've got Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Cal Tucker, all of those guys hitting over 300. Alex Bregman 3 for 6 against them as well. So these guys have pretty good numbers against Eovaldi. He's got to be big in this game to. Everybody's got to be big if you're on the Red Sox roster tonight. I don't care if you're not playing in the game. You need to be into the game, eyes on the game. That's one of the biggest things. Little league, high school baseball, doesn't matter what brand of baseball, any team sport that you're playing. The more people that are involved on the bench who's not actually physically playing in the game, but if they are mentally there, the whole team is on the same wavelength, and that goes into the chemistry, and that needs to happen tonight. I don't care if you're a bullpen guy and not expected to pitch till the 7th, 8th, 9th inning or whatever. Be there and let's get the win tonight against the Astros. However, it's going to be tough. We've seen the bats lull for 2 games on the Astros roster, right? 2 games, the bats kind of lulled a little bit and exploded for the Red Sox.
Can it switch again is the question.
Exactly. It absolutely can. It's hard to slow these Astros down, though. If we get a good game out of Nathan Eovaldi tonight, hopefully we can see what we want. So are we both going with the Red Sox to win tonight?
Definitely. I think Uvalde's going to hold them down to 3. They're only going to get 3 runs, and the Red Sox are going to score 6.
Caveman, you're such a smart butt. He says usually that's how it works. You have to outscore the opponent. I don't know what conversation they've got going on in the Facebook chat. But if you like to talk sports, definitely join us on Facebook and get in there with the hooligans because they are nonstop commenters on this. And then Kyle Albritton has a point about you talking smack about Minute Maid Park. How about Fenway, pesky pole, and how short it is there on the right side of the field?
Well, they've only been playing baseball at Fenway since like around 1900. Minute Maid was built 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when Major League Baseball had evolved into being what it should be, and it's a Mickey Mouse park. That's what it is.
All right. So Memphis is a 2-point favorite. The spread that I'm looking at now says 1.5-point favorite. Both of these teams 1-2 in the American Athletic Conference. Dylan Gabriel, not the start that we expected from him, sitting at 814 yards, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. On the other side, the quarterback for Memphis, Hennigan, he's got 2,153 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Both of them pretty even when it comes to total yards per game. UCF getting about 440.2. I guess that's not about, that's exact. And 487 yards for the Memphis Tigers. But on the defensive side of the ball, UCF has the edge, only giving up 384 yards, 207 through the air, 176 on the ground. 426 yards is what the Memphis Tigers are giving up. Memphis, some of the games that they've been in, the game against Tulsa, losing 35-29. The game against Temple, losing 34-31. It really scares me to put my neck out there like we are on taking Memphis, but it gives the listeners a better shot here. We've got a wide variety of scores that are going on with our Beat the Underdog, so good luck to that. This game is at 6 p.m. on ESPN2 tonight. The over-under is set at 65, so old school, will Memphis and UCF cover those 65 points together? Will it be over or will it be under? Because the score that I picked has them going to 64, so that would be under. Did I get the score wrong?
No. I think that it's going to be right there. It's going to be a knee knocker. I mean, they're going to be right there at it, but I don't think they will go over.
All right. Next up, we've got a little basketball on ESPN, a double dip tonight, 6:30. The Nets and the 76ers are going. The Sixers have won their last 5 regular season home games against Brooklyn, winning by an average of 10.8 points per game over that span, and there won't be any Ben Simmons, who is not mentally prepared to play at this point in time with the Philadelphia 76ers. The Nets, with their loss to the Bucks, are looking for a little bit of revenge to get their season on the right track. However, there's not going to be any Kyrie Irving, and that looked to be have some effect on that Nets roster. Yeah, you still got James Harden, and yeah, you got Kevin Durant, but Kyrie Irving gives you another wrinkle to that offense, especially when he's on. There's no doubt about it. Who do you have winning this game tonight, old school?
I have the Nets winning comfortably. I just think the 76ers, what's going on up there is just a circus. And unless they bring in the clowns and the elephants to hold it all together, I just think the 76ers are in for a rough night.
I think that this is great for the 76ers because it almost eliminates the chemistry or the lack of chemistry or messing up the chemistry, what Ben Simmons does. They're not wanting to babysit him. And when I say that, I mean Joel Embiid and the other players are not trying to babysit this guy. That's Joel Embiid's exact words. So I think that it bodes well for the 76ers, and them being at the house and them getting all the negative press right here. A lot of the times when you see that, the teams will come out and almost just play to defeat that part. Let's go to the Lakers and the Suns. The Suns put the Lakers out of the playoffs last year. LeBron James's next triple-double is going to be the 100th of his career. So there's going to be a lot of storylines going that way. He's going to be the 5th player in NBA history to reach that milestone. Lakers or the Suns tonight? Who do you have, old school?
Well, I think that James will get his triple-double, but he will do that in a losing cause. I think the Suns will get it done tonight.
I'm going with the Lakers. I think the Lakers get it done. And Russell Westbrook is going to be a little bit. They're going to have him in a different energy this game, but they'll involve him to another extent of the game plan, involve him more so, and I think that would be beneficial for Russell Westbrook. Good text here about Ryan Warren. He says, while I agree not normal talking about baseball fields, baseball is all on traditions, and Fenway Park and the Monster is a part of that. I agree to your point. It doesn't really make a difference one way or the other. And this is really having to do with the chat and what's going on inside of the chat. Although you have to say Minute Maid is a home run machine because of where the wall is low. Great text there from Ryan Warren. What do you got, old school?
Well, the Astros played in the Astrodome for many, many years, and I've been to the Astrodome numerous times when I grew up there. And the Astrodome had a cavernous outfield. The field, the fences were way out there, 430, 440 in center field. And when they decided to build the new ballpark, they wanted to create more fireworks, more offense. And so they built that field with a short porch in left field, with the train out there, all the craziness that they have there. And it's worked for them, but it's still just a strange park.
Just a strange park. That's, but that's the cool thing about baseball is all the parks are different. There's not 100 yards this way, 50 yards wide, 10 yards. There's none of that.
When they first built it, they had the flagpole in center field, and they had a little ramp up.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So they left that in play. They've now taken that out. But it's still, it's an interesting ballpark. I loved it last year when the Braves went there and played in their division championship, and that's where they won.
So you liked it last year, but
I liked it because the Braves were hitting home runs like crazy to left field. But I don't like that as a baseball player.
Yeah, man. I don't know. That's one thing I love about the uniqueness of every field, and everything's got its pros and got its cons when it comes to stadiums in the baseball world. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. This is the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to be right back with Defend Your Stance.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Right now is your chance to win in the Grand Slam of Cash. Your code word is
bank.
Enter the code word at ESPNPC.com or play on the ESPN Northwest Florida app. 2 ways to play this national contest.
$1,000 in cash. Oh, man.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
A forecast overnight, mostly clear skies, 60 to 65. Light variable winds expected. Water temperature in the Gulf 81. Watch out for the rip currents this weekend. They're going to be kind of strong. Mostly sunny skies Saturday in the low 80s. Northeast wind about 10. Mostly clear in the low 60s Saturday night. A weather front coming in Sunday and Monday with some clouds, showers, and thunderstorms. Highs in the low 80s each day. Have a great and safe weekend. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, this is meteorologist Tim Root.
Golf Plus is your premier golf shop on the Gulf Coast. Not a big box or a chain store, but a local store with golf experts to serve you. An amazing array of demo and fitting products, plus a professional repair shop that can handle anything from a basic re-grip to a full set of re-shafts and everything in between. Golf Plus has locations in Dothan and Panama City Beach to serve you. Come see them today for all your golf needs. Located next to Firefly at the shops at Edgewater. Call 850-249-2726.
We know that juicy, cheesy, grilled to perfection burger sounds amazing, but it does sound like something is missing. Pepsi, baby! The yin to this burger's yang. Burgers and Pepsi go together like burgers and Pepsi. This perfect blending of flavors makes every bite of lettuce, every sesame seed on the bun, and every sip of that crisp, refreshing, ice-cold cola a journey to Foodtopia. Burgers, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Is that the sound of an ooey gooey, cheesy, crunchy slice of P-I-Z-Z-A? Obviously, but as good as that sounds, we think it can get even better. Oh yeah, that's the sound of a freshly opened fizz-filled Pepsi. The only thing that can take this flavor medley of crunchy dough, mouth-watering cheese, and savory sauce to the next level. How about another bite? Pepsi and pizza sound like a match made in heaven and taste even better. Pizza, better with Pepsi. That's what I like.
Damsel in Defense presents Defend Your Stance. Got an opinion? Time to defend it. It's the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Yes! Welcome back into the Afternoon Underdogs. This is my best impression of Ron Darling after the Dodgers won last night, I'm sure. He had the mics cut. But
they had the blue lipstick on again.
Oh, man. This is Defend Your Stance, sponsored by Emerald Coast Damsel Independent Damsel Pro for Damsel in Defense Gun Show this weekend in Jacksonville. I pity the fool who doesn't use our tool is their
motto.
Quote. Yeah, motto. I was about to say quote.
Slogan.
Well, then I out of my peripheral over here, I see on Facebook that all baseball fields should be equal. Let's start with that on Defend Your Stance. Should all baseball parks be the same, at least dimensions on the field? I think that me and you, we're going to have very similar answers here. We'll let you go first, Old School.
No. I mean, part of the uniqueness of the game is the fact that every ballpark you go to is a little bit different, and it gives the home field a little bit of advantage. If you've never played left field in Fenway Park, and it's a whole new animal. Yankee Stadium has the short porch in right field. It's part of the character of the game where the home field parks are unique and different. Doesn't mean that you have to like it. It just means that every one of them is different.
Yeah, everything, even down to the foul lines and how much foul territory that you have. And that gives an advantage to the home teams because they play in it 81 times a year. So they're going to know their ballpark better than what you are going to know. But then to the same point, you're going to know if in your same division, Shea Stadium, or Citi Field, Braves players are going to know that better than the Seattle Mariners. You know what I mean? So I can see where the argument comes from, but being a baseball fan, absolutely not. No way. I love the parks being different in their own. Another Defend Your Stance question, which I'm not going to give any time for an answer since it's from Kyle Albritton, is why can't Dave answer the phone correctly? I let you know I answer a lot of phone calls today, but you were on line 2, and that wasn't the correct line that we could get you on the air with, Kyle. So you should have shown up to Fan Friday, and you could have defended that stance right along with me. Chubba Hubbard, will he have over or under 2 touchdowns in a game this week against the New York Football Giants, who are dealing with a lot of injuries?
They are dealing with a lot of injuries, and Chubba Hubbard's a good running back at Oklahoma State, man. He was, until he got sideways with Mike Gunda, he was a candidate for a Heisman for a while.
Mm-hmm.
He had a tremendous freshman year. He's a heck of a running back. He's not Christian McCaffrey by any means, but I think it's a very good chance that he will be over 2 TDs in this week's game.
Yeah, I like them to have the over. Specifically speaking, I don't think that the Giants are going to have the ball for very long when it comes to time of possession. So I think that you'll see a early touchdown from Chubba and then a late touchdown icing the game. But I really do see the Panthers winning by 2+ scores here. That spread is not as close as is not as far out as what it should be with all of the people that you look on that injury report from the Giants, and they're not there for you. Will Tua eclipse 300 yards versus the Atlanta Falcons? He has never had back-to-back 300-yard games in the NFL. He had 300 last week, 329 in the loss to the Jaguars. Do you think he'll go back-to-back with 300-yard games, Old School?
Who's he playing? He's playing the Falcons.
The Falcons.
Absolutely, he will. In fact, I think there will be a lot of we don't need Deshaun Watson after this game because Tua is going to look really good going up against that Falcons defense.
I'm worried about his ribs.
Does Atlanta ever sack anybody?
That's a good point. But if he does get hit the wrong way one time, then
I'm sure he'll have a flak jacket on.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I'm worried about that for the 300. But he did it last week, and he was closer to the injury last week. So I do think that he'll have a really good chance to do it. And then another reason that I think that he will get these 300 yards is these things recirculating in the media. The last time we were really talking about this stuff, I believe, was preseason, where it didn't matter as much. And now you got Coach Flores coming out and saying Tua is our guy. I think he wants to put an exclamation point behind that rather than just a period.
And I think also we need to understand that most of these rib injuries that quarterbacks get, they don't come from a sack or being struck in the ribs. The majority of them happen when they're being tackled and a 350-pound defensive lineman lands on him and falls on him and crushes them into the ground. That's where the injuries happen. Every once in a while, you'll see one where they catch him in the as he's throwing the ball and hit him in the ribs, but that's not the normal case. And as long as Tua can get rid of the ball quickly and not take one of those type of shots and not be sacked where multiple guys fall on him, I think he'll make it through the game.
Here's one. We'll get back to some NFL-type prop bets and questions for us to defend our stances on. But this is one from Ethan pertaining back to baseball. Would standardizing the field reduce how many shifts that we see? This is a great question for Sam Peebles. I don't think so, though, because the infield is the same everywhere that you go. And they don't necessarily shift for the dimensions of the outfield as much as it is he going to be pulling the ball or is he going to go oppo taco with it? So I don't think that if you standardize the fields that you would see any increase or decrease in the shifts. I think that we'll start seeing a decrease in that if bunts became more prevalent again. The thing is they're just not during the regular season. You see it more in the postseason, but they're looking for the base hits.
Yeah, I mean, if you've noticed in these ball games in the championship series here, guys have been trying to go to, if the shift is to the right side, they're trying to go to left field. If they're shifted more around for a right-handed hitter, they're trying to go to right field, and because they know the value of a base hit. I just wish that they could figure out that there's the value of the base hit is always the value of a base hit. And I know that, the 3-run home run is so in vogue at this point with all the analytics, but it's still, if you do it often enough and if you do it long enough, they will get out of the shift.
No doubt. Let's get back to some NFL here. Jalen Waddle or Calvin Ridley, another one pertaining to the Dolphins and the Falcons game. Who has more receiving yards, old school, Jalen Waddle or Calvin Ridley? This is a selfish question, honestly, for me. So, guys, go ahead and text me your answers on Facebook and whatnot. I'm trying to find out who I need to be playing in fantasy, Jalen Waddle or Calvin Ridley.
Well, my recommendation would be Jalen Waddle.
All right, so I'm playing Calvin Ridley. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen.
Good call on your part. I mean, I think that I think Tua's going to have a good game, so why wouldn't you take Waddle? If you don't think he's going to have a good game, take Ridley.
Yeah, it's really tough. I think that either way you go, you'll be in good hands in this week because the secondaries are going to be not so well. Calvin Ridley, though, I don't even think he's got a 100-yard game this season. But the wide receiving core for the Falcons has kind of been beat up. You haven't seen Russell Gage a lot this year. Cordell Patterson has become a big part of the offense, passing and running the ball. But I think that Calvin Ridley is, in the end, going to have more reception yards because Jalen Waddle really benefits from Tua being in the game rather than Jacoby Brissett, right? But Calvin Ridley, the Falcons are going to be playing catch-up in this game, and so that's why I think you'll see more receiving yards from Calvin Ridley. But as overall points, I'll probably go Jalen Waddle because he'll get a touchdown, possibly two. Jalen Hurts, I'm just realizing how many Alabama players I'm talking about right here. But Jalen Hurts, all right, there hasn't been a quarterback in the NFL who has had 2 rushing touchdowns in 3 consecutive games since 1950. Will Jalen Hurts have 2 rushing touchdowns, over or under that, in this game against the Raiders? What do you think, old school?
I think that he will not. I think he will have 1 running touchdown and 2 passing touchdowns.
Okay, all right, good stuff. I don't think that he's going to get it done either here. I think the Raiders are a little bit better against the run, and they'll have a spy somewhere on Jalen Hurts trying to make sure that he throws the ball down the field. I think the Raiders will really control the clock here, but we saw what the Eagles did against the Bucs and keeping it close. That's kind of the theme to the Eagles season this year is keeping games somewhat closer than what we would have thought or imagined they would be when they actually get onto the field. Will the Cardinals defense score a touchdown versus Houston? 17.5-point spread, old school. Will the Cardinals defense score a touchdown in this game?
Yeah, they will. I think that it'll be a strip, a sack strip and a touchdown.
All right. So when I was reading on The Athletic that they're pinning J.J. Watt to score a touchdown. Not just the Cardinals defense, J.J. Watt specifically. I do think that the Cardinals are going to score defense because it's Davis Mills. Their passing game has not been good at all this year with Davis Mills. Brandon Cooks is about the only spotlight on that team. Why not? No, you said yes. I'm going to say no. That way we can have a little difference here. I don't think that the Cardinals will score a defensive touchdown. However, I don't think that they'll let a touchdown happen through the Houston offense either. So I think you're good to go there.
So you're saying a complete shutout?
No, they could score field goals, but I don't think that they'll let the Houston offense score a touchdown.
Gotcha.
All right, you're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your chance to win Cold Hard Cash.
Hi, this is Ernie Mello from Lynnhaven, Florida. I just won $1,000.
2 ways to win this national contest. Listen weekdays at 8:45, 12:45, and 4:45 for a new code word. You hear it. Enter the code word at ESPNPC.com or use the new ESPN Northwest Florida app to play. The Grand Slam of Cash.
Have you ever thought about flying an airplane? It's not as difficult as you may think. Simply call Island Air Express. They are a family-oriented flight school who cares about the student pilot progression and more of a one-on-one flight training school. Island Air Express can help you celebrate your birthday by taking you on a birthday flight. Let Island Air Express show you the world from a different view by taking you and your family across beautiful Panama City Beach. Call Island Air Express at 850-814-6407 or visit their website at islandairexpress.com.
Hi, this is Coach James Hale, here to tell you about the best car wash on the beach. Blue Sky Express Car Wash. Number one, they're locally owned. You know Matt and his employees will do a great job. Number two, Blue Sky Car Wash recycles their water. Number three, they have the latest technology available. It does an incredible job on your vehicle. Blue Sky Express Car Wash on Back Beach Road is right near Home Depot. Tell them Coach Hale sent you.
Hi, I'm Tracy, your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. Shopping for the perfect diamond can be difficult, but that's why I've trained my staff to be helpful and to offer you a stress-free diamond experience. Pick your sparkle and use our easy layaway plan. Every woman deserves an exquisite diamond from your diamond girl at Tracy's Fine Jewelry. We don't work on commissions.
We work for smiles and I-dos.
So if you're tired of high-pressure salespeople, stop by and see us today at Tracy's Fine Jewelry.
The National Championship Series plays here. Powered by Pepsi. WGSX Lynnhaven, Panama City. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Are you thinking about buying or selling real estate in the Panama City area? Think Real Estate is your team of local experts who simply love living and working in Bay County and helping others make their dreams come true through the exchange of homes and properties. We strive to provide excellent customer service in residential, commercial, and investment sales, as well as property management by combining classic customer service with crazy fresh marketing. Visit our website, whenyouthink.com.
Live from the Slim Chicken Studio. Hot takes, the latest trades, in-depth interviews.
That is my reaction.
We break it down for you right here.
Very big springboard for the rest of my career.
The Afternoon Underdogs.
That's the problem right there.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into hour 2 of the Afternoon Underdogs, getting you ready for your weekend of college football, NFL football. We've got the ALCS happening tonight. NLCS is going to be happening tomorrow. The impact of the game tonight could impact the time of the Braves and the Dodgers game tomorrow. But we're back in Atlanta, man, so we've got to take advantage of having the home field advantage. And also, games 1 and 2, we had some walk-offs happen. I wouldn't mind seeing game 6 end in a walk-off. I don't think anybody would. Hopefully we'll get a good, sharp game from Ian Anderson and Chris Taylor, and A.J. Pollock have a little bit of a slouch-type night, but you know how it is in baseball. And one thing that we've seen over and over in this series is that it's not been the same player over and over. Outside of maybe, you could make the case for Eddie Rosario, but Freddie Freeman kind of broke out of the mini slump, if you will. He didn't consider it a slump, so we shouldn't either, right? Let's talk about some headlines real quick, old school. Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski will be out for Week 7 versus the Bears. Not huge news. Antonio Brown has really came on as kind of the number one target for Tom Brady, but they still got Evans. They still got Godwin. They still got Cam Brate. They still got O.J. Howard. Not that he's having any type of a great year, but Cameron Brate, not a bad tight end to fill in there for Rob Gronkowski. Miami Dolphins coach, as we talked about earlier, reiterates the support for Tua Tagovailoa as Deshaun Watson rumors are continuing to kind of swirl around there. We talked about it yesterday. I don't think that it would be a good idea to get into trade talks with a guy that still has the baggage that he has at this point in time when your record is 1-5 and you don't know is the possibility of him actually being able to play quarterback for you is a reality. Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield says that his shoulder has a fracture in addition to the torn labrum. Old school, should he get surgery now or should he finish the season out and then get the surgery?
Well, I think he made that decision earlier in the season.
It seems like he needs to reevaluate that situation.
As long as he thinks he can play, it all comes down to his pain threshold. If he's able to handle the pain of it, then no. Because he's still the starting quarterback, and he needs to be in there. It's good that Case Keenum came in and did a good job for them, but if they really have the rest of their roster is pretty darn good, and if they have any hope of going deep in the playoffs, I think they need their starting quarterback. And he made that decision. He could have done this earlier, but he chose to try to play through. So he's made that decision. Now he's got to do it.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think you got to just play the season out, get your shoulder fixed afterwards. I don't know how much more this injury could open up by not getting the surgery done. I'm not a doctor, so not sure how, especially with having a fracture on top of your torn labrum, how that's going to affect you. But if you can throw the ball, then get in there and throw the ball. Even with the pieces that you were missing last night to come away with a win against a pretty good defense in the Denver Broncos. I don't think that Case Keenum is the answer at all. Maybe one more game or so. I don't know who's next on the agenda for the Cleveland Browns. But I'm with you, old school. I would say let Baker Mayfield play the season out, see where you can get to. You're having a better season than not what the media pinned you to do, but better than what I expected. I thought that all the hype around the Cleveland Browns was going to go down the drain early on into the season, and it hasn't really. Both of their losses, a couple of plays that the ball bounces a different way, and they could be looking to be in really good shape in a tough AFC North division. We were talking earlier about Russell Westbrook. If he gets more involved, it could be an easy fix. That's what LA Lakers coach Frank Vogel said. He said after practice Thursday, that Westbrook played pretty good in the opener. We didn't get him involved enough, and that's on me as the coach. We continue to look at situations to make him useful and not pull away from what AD, Anthony Davis, and LeBron James are doing. Those guys obviously got going, but I didn't do a good enough job getting Russ going, and that's an easy fix, something that we're familiar with and keep looking at every day and get a little bit more comfortable with. Old school, is it that easy of a fix to get Russell Westbrook involved into the game plan?
I don't think so. I mean, you know the way that LeBron likes to play point forward, and I just don't see Russell. I don't remember the last time I've ever seen a Russell Westbrook run a pick and roll. I mean, his game has always been slash to the hole and dish, and I just don't know. I mean, he says it's an easy fix. I don't know how that is. It's just not the way that Russell plays. It's going to require Russell to go 180 degrees from the way that he normally has always played. He's very ball-centric. He's now going to have to not be that way. I know they thought this. That's the reason why they signed him, but I don't see it working.
I guess I'm hoping that it works because there's so many players on that LA roster. Really, the two that I'm thinking of, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, it would be cool to see them get the rings that, in a sense, especially when we're talking about Carmelo Anthony, not that he deserves it, but, you know, he's been in a lot of places where the talent was supposed to be a lot more superior than what they put out on the hardwood floor. It would be fun to see those guys get going, but then again, I root against the Los Angeles Lakers, so I don't really know how I feel about it, but I do think that getting him involved, if you're just leaving it at that, getting him involved would be an easy fix. Now, are the statistics going to follow? That's a whole nother story, because like you said, it's not the pick and roll for him, it's a slash and dash that's been what works for Russell Westbrook. But now he's on a team with full of veterans. So maybe that could play out in his favor. David Price is now on the roster for the Los Angeles Dodgers. He's taken Joe Kelly's spot after an injury last night to him. Not really sure what happened there. Just one pitch, and next thing you know, we're getting a replacement pitcher in for the Dodgers.
Yeah, there was no real clear evidence of what happened, but he immediately knew that he couldn't go anymore. And it was odd, you know, you got 2 strikes on Duvall, and he can't go anymore. So it was obviously something that was fairly significant. And so, and he's a crowd favorite out there. They really like him in LA, and so I hate it for him.
How about this question from Right State Chris? Would you rather see, or would you have rather seen, John Stockton and Karl Malone get rings, or Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook?
That's an easy one.
What do you mean that's easy?
It's an easy question.
So give me your answer.
Oh, without a doubt, Malone and Stockton.
Only because that was closer to your prime of basketball, I think. Because for me, it's Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook.
They went up against Michael in the Bulls over and over and over again. And if it hadn't been for the fact that it was Michael in the Bulls, they would have gotten 2 or 3 rings.
That's a good point.
I mean, they're number one.
That's a good point. But Carmelo Anthony, you know, the thing that he did at Syracuse, getting the national championship there and then coming with the Nuggets and it not working out there and then going to the Knicks and it not working out there, even going back to that Nuggets team and having Allen Iverson. And then when he goes to the Knicks and we're like, oh, man, the Knicks might actually have a chance. And he basically single-handedly made the Nets more important than the Knicks were, because KD signs with the Brooklyn Nets after that, and then the journeyman that's taken place since, or the journey that's taken place since for Carmelo Anthony. It would be great to see Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook get rings. However, I just don't know if I want to see the Lakers do it again, because I'm still on that. I don't think that LeBron is a championship or 2 away from kind of taking over that GOAT status. I think that MJ has pretty much got that secured, but we're also seeing LeBron James coming close to being the highest scorer of all time in the NBA, and that's got to speak volumes as well. So but for me, old school, I just got to say, for me, it's Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook.
I understand. I mean, being a young punk, I can understand why you would think that way. Only thing that I have to say is Carmelo Anthony was always me. There was no team in
What
Carmelo.
about Karl Malone, the mailman?
There was a team there of Malone and Stockton.
On the court, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about on the court. We're talking about in the game.
Yeah.
And you know, Melo was a heck of a player. No disrespect to Melo, he still is a heck of a player. The time that he made where I said I'm a fan is when he played for the USA Olympic team and took it. He took the team on his shoulders and carried them. And I like that about him because he played a team. The rest of the time it was me. And I can shoot it from 40 feet or 30 feet or whatever, and he didn't matter whether he shot 5 for 30 or he was going to get his shot off. And Stockton and Malone were about, they ran their offense and they ran it to perfection.
I just disagree, though. For me, it's Carmelo. I don't even have stats or anything to back it up, and it's not even Russell Westbrook, because Russell Westbrook had a really good shot there with James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Russell Westbrook there in Oklahoma City. So it's not as much him as it is Carmelo Anthony. There's just something about seeing him get that ring will be awesome. And with the Utah Jazz, growing up, I'd rather see the Bulls win than I would the Jazz. So basically, the Jazz would have had to beat the Bulls, and we wouldn't be talking about Michael Jordan this way. So I'm glad that Stockton and Malone never got a ring. How about that?
Well, you need to go back and watch some tape. I know, and back then it really was tape.
Now it's YouTube.
And watch how Stockton and Malone played the game. Malone, when he came into the couldn't shoot a free throw to save his life. By the time he finished his career, he was shooting in the high 90s. Mm-hmm. He worked on his game. He came in
with the low 16s.
He came in with no outside shot whatsoever, but he developed his game. He and Stockton, they developed this game, and it was poetry in motion. They just couldn't get by Michael and the Bulls.
Carmelo Anthony, Russell Westbrook for me. We're not even going to give you any time. Your mic is cut off. All right, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. I'm a young punk. He's an old fool. Together, we're the young and the restless. All right, we got some big college football games headed up this week. Starting off with some big games in the ACC. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back with with David at Old School.
My forecast overnight, mostly clear skies, 60 to 65, light variable winds expected. Water temperature in the Gulf 81. Watch out for the rip currents this weekend. They're going to be kind of strong. Mostly sunny skies Saturday in the low 80s, northeast wind about 10. Mostly clear in the low 60s Saturday night. A weather front coming in Sunday and Monday with some clouds, showers, and thunderstorms. Highs in the low 80s each day. Have a great and safe weekend. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, this is meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your official radio home of the Atlanta Braves.
Riley smokes one to deep left, back there towards the pole. That is a home run.
The men of October are back.
Here comes Ozzie, and the Braves take game one.
The Atlanta Braves march to the World Series happens here. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
They're going crazy here in Atlanta.
Impact Promotions, along with Parkway Tire, brings you Beat Down at the Beach 21. Live MMA action and Halloween party Saturday, October 30th at Laketown Wharf. General admission available in advance or at the door. To reserve your VIP table, call 691-9650. Don't miss this night of live MMA action. Call 691-9650 for tickets. Beat Down at the Beach 21. Sponsored by Flooring Solutions and Advantage Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. Your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Are you ready for some football? So are the folks at That Boot Store. They have the latest in Western outfits, along with brand names like Wolverine, Timberland Pro, and many others, including Ariat and Old Western for kids. That Boot Store loves the Noles, the Gators, the Tigers, the Bulldogs, and Joe's favorite, Roll Tide. That Boot Store, your team's favorite Western shop, next to Billboard Key on 15th Street. Open Tuesday to Thursday, 9 to 5, Friday and Saturday, 9 to 5:30. Remember what Joe always said, keep Jesus in your heart every day.
What's up, everybody? David Pollock here with Bar Burritos. Did you know that Bar Burritos has 35 farm fresh ingredients? That means you have over 3,000 entree combinations that you can put on your plate. Luckily, Barbaritas put together their 9 under 500 calorie menu, which features 9 different entrees that you can feel great about eating. Try the ground turkey salad with double protein, the mini chicken burrito, or my personal favorite Friday meal, fish tacos with guacamole. It's a winning play with Barbaritos.
Now back to the most dangerous afternoon show on terrestrial radio.
Danger's my middle name.
It's illegal in 5 states. The Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Get your VCRs out, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to watch tape on Karl Malone and John Stockton.
Yeah,
Old
it'll be a good education for you.
Yeah, we'll learn how to press the stop and the play button over and over again. You see that? He made the free throw. A lot of practice and effort to go into that. College football games of the week. 3 big games in the ACC. Clemson at number 23, Pitt to start things off. Old school, where are you seeing this game going? Kenny Pickett here, quarterback for Pittsburgh, has worked his way into the Heisman talks. Their defense isn't too shabby. The offense for Clemson has been slacking this year. What do you think we'll see from this game?
This is an important game for Clemson. I think it's an opportunity. It's not often where Pitt goes into a game feeling like they got a real chance to beat Clemson.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, they're playing at home. They are playing at home, right?
Yeah, Pitt's at the house.
Yep. They're at the house. They're taking on Clemson, and if you're going to get them, this is the week to get them.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. In fact, 63% of America, according to the ESPN FPI, the Football Power Index, is going with Pittsburgh to win this matchup. This is weird times because, like you said, you don't think that Pittsburgh. When is Pittsburgh ever really going to be favored in a game like this? And the spread has Pittsburgh being a 3-point favorite here at the house. But Pickett, almost 2,000 yards, 21 touchdowns, only 1 interception, high completion percentage as well. DJ Uiagalelei, 974 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So not a lot working for them. They could have one of those breakout games, no doubt, but I do like Pittsburgh in this game, averaging putting up 533 yards in offense a game, 350 of that through the air, but they're giving up 319 yards on defense. Clemson's defense giving up 314 yards and looks good on the field, but they went to the wire last week with Syracuse on a Friday at the house. I think Pittsburgh comes away victorious here, and one of the things about that is looking at the standings here for the ACC and where we're at. What did you have, Old School?
I was just going to say, I think Tim, I think he took Pitt as one of his locks, didn't he?
I think that was me.
Oh, it was you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I got him as a lock, and Kyle has Clemson as a lock in this game. When we're looking at the Atlantic side of the ACC here, Wake Forest is 4-0 in the conference at this point. North Carolina State in the Atlantic 2-0. So both of those teams kind of controlling their own destiny. Pittsburgh on the coastal side of things is 2-0 in the conference. And in second place, they have a 2-game lead on the Virginia Cavaliers. So if they win this game, they almost wrap up a spot in the ACC championship game. And the only thing they're going to have to figure out is it going to be Wake Forest or is it going to be North Carolina State? And we'll have a date here in the future with Wake Forest and North Carolina State. However, this week, North Carolina State has 2-4 Miami. This game will be at 6:30 on ESPN2. What do you expect that we'll see from this game? I've got North Carolina State winning this game handedly. We haven't seen anything from Miami to this point in the year. North Carolina State is a 3.5-point favorite in this game, and we already said they pretty much control their destiny at this point in time in the ACC. Does Miami have a chance, who is 0-2 in the ACC?
I don't think so. I think Miami, they certainly have some talented players. I just think that they just don't have enough talent. Their quarterback situation is unfortunate. North Carolina State, there are moments where we look at them and we go, man, that's a good team. And then there's moments where they kind of wet the bed. this is an opportunity for them, and they need to go out and make a statement against Miami.
All right. We'll see how that works out. So in the ACC, Pitt's got a 58% chance to win it. North Carolina State has a 19% chance to win it. Clemson, a 10% chance to win it. 10% still for the Clemson Tigers right now. 8% for undefeated 4-0 in the conference, Wake Forest. And then Virginia's at the bottom, 3%. All other teams in the ACC has a 1% chance or less to actually win their conference this year. We've got some games in the NCAA with some very awkward spreads. Oh, Virginia's taking on Georgia Tech this weekend in Virginia. That game's at 6:30 on the ACC network. We've got some games with some awkward spreads this weekend. Both of these I have as upsets of the week, are dogs of the week. Number 8, Oklahoma State visiting Iowa State. Iowa State's a 7-point favorite. This game 2:30 on Fox. Old school. Will Iowa State knock off the number 8 team in the nation, Oklahoma State?
I really am shocked by this one. I don't understand how Iowa State can be a 7-point favorite over the number 8 team in the country. I realize that maybe Iowa State's a difficult place to play. But I just think that Oklahoma State, when they get their offense going, and the way they play defense is very interesting, especially on third down. You know, what they did to Texas in the second half, you know, they just lined up on the first down marker, all the defensive backs, and said, okay, you know, you got to beat us deep. That was the only way they were going to give it up. And I really like the way they're playing defense. So I think that Oklahoma State wins that one. Not handily, but they're going to win it.
So you look at Iowa State, and in their last 5 games, they've got 2 losses, 1 to Baylor and 1 to number 10 now, but at one point was all the way up in the top 4 in Iowa. They lost to Iowa 27-17, and they lost to Baylor at Baylor 31-29. Close games. Those games have any couple of crazy bounces for the ball there, and we could be talking about Iowa State right here being at 6-0 rather than Oklahoma State, who's also been in close battles throughout the year. Last week with the win over Texas, 32-24, with a big second half comeback. They beat Baylor 24-14, but they were at the house with them. And then you look at close games with Boise State and Tulsa, 21-20, 28-23. I think that this has made Oklahoma State stronger, and maybe I'm wrong here because Texas and what they've done in back-to-back weeks in the second half, letting big leads escape. Maybe I'm giving Oklahoma State a little bit too much credit right here. And Brock Purdy, the quarterback for Iowa State, has looked better than what Spencer has. Spencer Sanders, the quarterback for Oklahoma State. Running games, pretty well comparable. 169 yards on the ground for Oklahoma State and the Cowboys, 187 yards on the ground for Iowa State and the Cyclones. But I still think I'm going to give the edge here to the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and not even because of the number 8. I just think that they're more battle-tested in a sense, and more battle-tested in the sense of winning the games, whereas Iowa State's been in battles, but they've come out on the wrong side of those battles. So I like Oklahoma State to cover or to stay within 7 points pretty easily. I think if Iowa State wins, it'll be a 3-point game.
I think that Iowa State's only chance is if Purdy plays an extraordinary game. He has to play a very, very good game. He's got to make some big throws. He's got to go deep a couple of times to get Oklahoma State off of that first down marker, the way they play defense. It's in his hands. If he plays well and has an exceptional game, Iowa State can win. Otherwise, I think Oklahoma State walks away with it.
Another game with a very awkward spread is number 10 Oregon on the road at UCLA. This game at 2:30 on ABC. UCLA is a 1-point now. Let me check this again. Yeah, still a 1-point favorite in this game, which is down a point. Yesterday, they were a 2-point favorite. And when we're looking at the FPI here, America's got Oregon 53% of the time, and 46% of the people are siding with the Bruins of UCLA. Can UCLA shock the world in a sense and take down Oregon? I don't know if it would really be shocking the world as close as these percentages are, but it would definitely be shocking me if UCLA takes down Oregon.
Well, UCLA's offense is hit and miss. It can get they can get rolling, and when they do, then they're tough to beat. I just think that the Nike brand, the Oregon, I just think people are still infatuated with what Oregon has been in the past. I'm not that fired up about Oregon. I know they went in and beat Ohio State.
In Ohio State.
Yeah. And that was an impressive, but they turned around and lost a couple, games that they shouldn't have.
Just one. They've only lost one. The one to Stanford in overtime, but Stanford, man.
Stanford. Come on, man.
Yeah.
So I think at UCLA, I think UCLA can get it done.
When we're talking about the quarterbacks here, Thompson for UCLA, 1,400 yards, 13 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Anthony Brown for the Oregon Ducks has 1,200 yards, but only 7 touchdowns and 1 interception. As far as offensive yardage and defensive yardage, they're very comparable. Actually, UCLA looks to be giving up a little bit less yards per game than what the Ducks of Oregon are. But I'm still, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a feeling, intuition, whatever you want to call it. The Oregon Ducks are going to leave UCLA with the 2-touchdown win. Easy.
Well, good for you. I wouldn't put any money on it if I were you, but I just think UCLA, when they get their offensive running, they're going to control the clock, and I think they can, at home, in the Coliseum, I think they're a different team than they are on the road.
Before we get out of here for this segment, which Week 8 game are you looking forward to the most?
For me?
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the Tennessee-Alabama game. And I know everybody's talking about
Get them cigars ready, folks.
I do like a good cigar, but I would not smoke it if Alabama wins it.
So
I will smoke one.
How about this? If Tennessee wins, I will personally come drop off the cigar that I have prepared for tomorrow night at about 9 p.m. Central Time.
I'll be awake.
I will bring you the cigar and let you smoke it. In fact, I'll let you light it up in front of me, and you can blow the first. You can blow the first smoke ring in my face.
Tennessee is they can score. They've got an offense that can put points on the board. The question is that the size and the strength of Alabama's can they hold up for 4 quarters? But it's just a good rivalry game, and in rivalry games you never know what can happen.
That's a good point, man. We could have 10 times more mustard bottles flowing if we were playing in Tennessee, but we're not. We're playing in Alabama. So I don't think you'll see anything flying on the field tomorrow night. For me, it's going to be LSU and Ole Miss. If Lane Kiffin didn't go to be the head coach of Ole Miss, he could have very well ended up on that coaching staff for Coach O at LSU. It's also going to be Eli Manning Day at Vaught Hemingway Stadium. So there's going to be a lot of cool things going on there. And I think that these players are playing for LSU right now. I mean, playing for Coach O in the last times that he'll be at LSU. So that's the game that I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to put a prediction out there. I think that LSU is going to stay within the 9 points. But as far as who wins and loses the game, we don't even know if Matt Corral's going in this game.
Yeah, I mean, if Matt Corral was healthy and at full strength, there would be not much of a game. But given the fact that he's injured and a lot of people are saying he's not going to play much, And the fact that it's Eli's weekend, who cares?
I do.
I don't. Eli was just another quarterback. If his last name had been Jones, nobody had ever heard of him.
Yeah. But if his last name was Jones, because I don't really have too much of a recollection of his college playing days. But for me, which I think that the story is cool, and I like what they're doing with the stadium, but more or less, even if it wasn't Eli Manning Day, this would be the game that I would want to be watching this weekend is LSU and Ole Miss. But on top of that, I don't care if his name was Jones, Harbaugh, whatever. He took down the undefeated Patriots in the Super Bowl. Not by himself, had a great team, great defensive line, and a great catch. Great catches in both of the Super Bowl wins, but still, he gets credit just for that.
Oh, that's the only thing I like about him.
Okay, and that's enough to like about him. So celebrate tomorrow with the Rebels of Ole Miss as they celebrate Eli Manning Day, because Old School cannot wait for it. LSU and Ole Miss is the game that I'm looking forward to in Week 8. And for Old School, one more time.
I'm looking forward to lighting up the cigar that you bring to
Tennessee and Alabama. Kyle Albritton says if Tennessee wins, Dave, you have to drink a bottle of mustard for every point they scored. I won't do that, but I will. I'll do like 4 shots of mustard. Write that down. I'll do 4 shots of mustard if Tennessee beats Alabama. So Old School will be smoking my cigar, and I'll be drinking 4 shots of mustard, and hopefully I don't get too much vinegar in my system.
Yeah, make sure you check the medical things before you do that, because I don't think that would be good for you.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that ain't good for you in life.
You're a young punk, but I don't want to see you go down like that.
Oh, man. Young punk I am. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. We're going to be right back with our NFL Games of the Week.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Mike Greenberg. Greeny.
If I had to bet an amount of money right now that mattered to me on which team is going to wind up in the Super Bowl from the NFC, I would bet it on Brady. I'd bet it on the Bucks, because I have a hard, fast rule now. I'm never betting against him again. And when push comes to shove, when we get to the playoffs, I will roll with that. But if you told me right now the Cowboys are going to wind up in the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be the least bit shocked. Not the least bit.
Greeny with Mike Greenberg.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Signworks, a business serving businesses since 1985. Everything from signs and banners, vehicles and boats, magnetic and real estate signs, contractor signs, and much more. Signworks can do large format, full color printing too. Signworks, a real professional in the business world. Call Signworks at 785-8899. Signworks, 850-785-8899.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likas with today's Car Clinic Minute. Fred and Ginger showed off the cha-cha, and Gap Kids made the country two-step tray chic. But I'm going to teach you the piston tango. When I come back, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2.
The Car Clinic Minute.
It's Bobby Likas Car Clinic, brought to you locally by Hewitt Tire and Auto.
Call 850-769-7323.
Your certified AAA service center and hometown towing.
Visit them online at HewittTire.com.
On Airport Road in Panama City.
That's 850-769-7323. Hewitt Tire and Auto Center and hometown towing.
The Rainbow Room was famous for dancing, but the newest craze, the Piston Tango, is grooving under your hood. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4 strokes. 1. Intake stroke. Pistons move downward and fill cylinders with fuel-air mixture. 2. Upward stroke. Compresses that mixture, which is then ignited by spark plug. 3. The downward power stroke that drives the engine. And 4. Pistons come back up and expel burned gases through the exhaust. Your perfectly synchronized piston. I'm Bobby Likas. Like us, you'll love us.
Tyndall Air Force Base to the Hathaway Bridge. We're live and local. It's the Afternoon Underdogs, live from the Slim Chicken Studio. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome into the Afternoon Underdogs here on 104.3 ESPN.
That sound like some 70s music there.
Did that sound like 70s music? Old school. I don't know if he knows his decades of music anymore, y'all.
That's some good music. I don't care what decade it is. That's some good music.
There you go. At least he gives it a compliment. You guys should hear him sometimes. And what is that we're playing? Yo, man. I catch flack from anywhere if it's not the listeners complaining about me hanging up on them, which I don't even do that very often. It's old school. Give me flack about 70s music when it's clearly not even the 70s. Anyways, Alabama fans, make sure you bring your pumpkins to Bryant Denny this weekend so you can throw those onto the field. That's what they were talking about in the Facebook chat. They were saying they could do some pumpkin chucking. That would be pretty fun to see, but that would be more dangerous than anything, man. They would have to, if fan base all got together and started throwing pumpkins, they would have to say, okay, listen, y'all are gonna go a game without any fans in attendance. In fact, we might have to do 2 for you. No home fans in attendance. Big games in the NFL here upon us for Week 7.
This is a big game. This first one's a big game for G-Man.
Yeah, let's we'll not start with that one. Let's start with the high spreads. Teams that are going to be trying to cover double-digit spreads. I have the Bears being able to stick within the Bucks, within 12.5 points against the Bucks. Old school. What say you?
That's the one that I was saying that there's a chance. The other two, not so much.
All right. So looking at the Texans and the Cardinals, which is one of the highest spreads we've seen in the NFL since last year, I believe, when the Ravens played the Jaguars. They were an 18-point favorite, and they won that game, I want to say 40-14, if I'm not mistaken. I think that the Cardinals, here's why I'm scared about this game, because we saw the Cardinals, not scared for the Cardinals to lose, but to not cover this high spread, this 17.5 points, is because we saw them play the Jacksonville Jaguars earlier in this season, and not that they struggled with him, but Kyler Murray didn't really play to his potential by any means, and the team just kind of had a slow start. DeAndre Hopkins not much of a factor in that game, if at all. So I'm a little worried about 17.5 points, but with them being at the house in this game, I think it'll be a little bit different. So I would look for the car, and especially not saying that this is a revenge game at all for J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt used to play with the Texans, you know what I mean? But I think that he does want to maybe prove something. So, yeah, like I said, I don't think that the Texans are going to score an offensive touchdown in this game. Could be 2, maybe even 3 field goals if they get into scoring position that many times within the game. I think the Cardinals will win by 20 or more points.
I think the only threat to the Cardinals not winning by 17.5 is if they decide to pull some starters and protect them and give them some rest. You know, Kyler Murray's not a big guy. They've had some injuries. If they get out to a comfortable lead, they may start playing some second and third string guys and giving their starters some time to enjoy. That's my only thing. I think that's the only reason why the Cardinals can't cover, if they didn't cover.
Jared Goff back in L.A., but this time as a Detroit Lion. Rams 16-point favorites at the house against the Lions. Do they cover?
Yes.
Easy money?
Easy money. I think the Rams defense are looking forward to planting Goff a couple of times.
All right. I'm with you. I think that Goff is going to have over 300 yards passing in this game.
He's going to have to because they're going to be so far behind.
They're going to be so far behind,
it's
exactly.
Be Matt Stafford type numbers because, it's going to be similar to where Stafford was all those years where so far behind he's got to throw it 70 times.
Even worse for Jared Goff, though, this year is the lack of wide receivers. They had at least, in the latter years there for Matt Stafford with the Kenny Galladay and Danny Amendola and stuff. But this year, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. You got Cephas, who was starting to break out, and then he's on IR. Khalif Raymond is a slot guy that they're trying to utilize on the outside, so it just hasn't worked out like that for him. And DeAndre Swift, they got to kind of keep close to Goff so that
he can protect him a little bit.
Well, not only just protect, but he can find somebody to dump it off to really real quick. Let's get to the Sunday Night Football game you were mentioning, the Colts at the 49ers. Trey Lance is dealing with a knee sprain, but Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be going Sunday night on Sunday Night Football for the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco, 4-point favorite in this game, old school. What do you got?
I mean, if Garoppolo is truly healed, I know he had a calf issue or something, and if he's 100%, then I think the Colts could be in trouble. If he's not at 100%, if he's out there at 80%, then he could throw a couple of interceptions and keep the Colts in it. The Colts were impressive in their last, the challenge against taking on the Ravens.
Yep.
They gave the Ravens all they wanted, and you got to give it up to Carson Wentz. He played a good game.
And they're finally utilizing Jonathan Taylor to his full capacity.
And man, Jonathan Taylor is a beast.
Oh, he really is. And we knew that it was going to be like that from his days at Wisconsin, how good he was catching the ball, how good he was running between the tackles, and as well as running on the perimeter. But you've seen the production of the backs from the Indianapolis Colts outside of Jonathan Taylor. They were kind of running almost like a running back by committee with Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines, and you've seen the production from Nyheim Hines kind of drop off. And you've also seen another good thing is Michael Pittman Jr., for the Indianapolis Colts kind of step up there and try to be that number one guy, as well as the addition of T.Y. Hilton. But we don't know, the health there for T.Y. Hilton. He's an aging wide receiver. I believe he's dealing with a quad or hamstring issue that kind of carried over from their last game. So that's something to monitor there. But I do like Carson Wentz. And the 49ers are struggling. Now, the reason why it looks so much like they're struggling is the lack of Jimmy Garoppolo. I truly do believe that. And then not really knowing which way their running back room was going to go. So I like the Colts in this game. This is one of the dogs of the week for me.
I think the Colts have a good chance. The 49ers, they're a good home team. And that may be what holds on, helps them to hold on and get a victory.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. Bengals at the Ravens. This is one of the biggest games of the week for sure. Bengals had that close loss to the Green Bay Packers and also a 3-point loss to the Chicago Bears. The Ravens with their early overtime loss to the Raiders, but both of these teams pretty much been streaking as of late. If you don't count that loss to the Green Bay Packers as such, it's not a terrible loss,
no,
right? Because it was in overtime as well. Ravens 6.5-point favorites here at the house against the Bengals. Who wins?
The Ravens win.
Do they cover the 6.5?
No, they do not. I think it'll be a 3-point game. I think that the Bengals are definitely making strides and going in the right direction. This is a first real meaningful game for them in quite some time. They are starting to believe, and I think that they will make it a game. I think the Ravens win by 3 points.
Okay. That's good news if you're a Bengals fan, I think. I mean, you don't want to hear losing, but the fact that people think it's going to be closer, and I was talking about this early on in the week because I didn't remember exactly when this game was happening. I said, watch out when those Bengals and the Ravens play. It's going to be a big battle in the AFC North this year, and more so than it's meant in a long time for the Bengals, especially in this game. I think Lamar Jackson is going to prove to be a little bit too much. Regardless, yesterday we went over the top 10 NFL quarterbacks, and I had Lamar around 6 or 7 in that area, and one of the reasons of that was the interceptions and the fumbles combined. But I don't want people to mistake that in me thinking, or to think that I think that Lamar Jackson isn't having one of his best years, possibly even better than his MVP year a couple of years ago. I think he's doing a great job. He's just turning the ball over a little bit much compared to those other 9 quarterbacks there. I think he's going to have another big passing game in this one, and probably on the ground as well. You just never know which way it's going to be with Lamar Jackson, but they've been so good in close games this year. I think we'll have another close game, just as what you're saying. I don't think that the Ravens will cover this spread. I do think that they come away with the victory here, but I'm interested to see in how the Bengals deal with the adversity. Another thing that I'm interested in seeing is Joe Burrow with the throat contusion that he had a couple of weeks ago, and how that's going to play out with them being on the road in Baltimore. Do you think that this will be a factor, or do you think the silent count will be enough?
No, I think that a couple of weeks, I don't know how severe the throat contusion was, but I think that there's ways they can work around that from a silent count, or, a different way of, even if he had to go to the clap. It's, when he's in the shotgun. I just think that Joe Burrow is ascending and doing the growth that he's having as a NFL quarterback, and he's got some weapons. And I think that they're starting to believe in themselves, and when a team starts to believe in themselves, they become dangerous. Lamar is an amazing, but Lamar is loose with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can be when they're around him, if they can be slapping at the ball, they could generate a couple of turnovers, which is what they're going to need to stay within that spread.
Last game we got of the day, Chiefs at the Titans. Titans a 4.5-point underdog here on the road against the Kansas City Chiefs. Travis Kelce has been cleared to play. Tyreek Hill still questionable, dealing with the quad injury. What happens in this game, old school? Can the Titans stick within the 4.5, or will the Chiefs beat the Titans by more than 4.5?
I think the Titans will stay within the 4.5 because they're going to just rely on the best running back in football. They're going to hand the ball off. They're going to shorten the game. They're going to try to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sidelines, and they're going to run the ball. And the Chiefs' defense is not very good against the run. And I think this is an opportunity for Henry to go off again. And I wouldn't be surprised. My prediction is it will have to be a comeback victory if the Chiefs get the win.
They're no strangers to the comeback victories at all. Julio Jones and his hamstring, not sure how that's going to work out. Taylor Lewan will not be playing in the game. I believe the defensive back Jackson will not be playing in the game. So some injuries that carried over from that Monday Night Football win against the Bills for the Titans will prove to be a factor in this game. But when Taylor Lewan did get knocked out of the game there, we didn't really see any drop-off from the rushing attack or the production from that offensive line. I don't know what had them boys so amped up on Monday Night Football other than it just being a big game and the crowd was raucous for the Tennessee Titans, which is not always the case there in Nissan Stadium. So I think the crowd has to come and back their guys up. I think that the offensive line has to be ready for whatever the Chiefs throw at them, but the Chiefs' run defense has not been good to this point. So that's the positive there, because the rushing offense for the Titans has been good, or at least for Derrick Henry to this point. And will A.J. Brown be healthy, dealing with some more stomach illness heading into this game? Seems like anytime this man eats fast food, he's dealing with some type of food poisoning. So that's something. Chef, yeah, he needs his own personal chef. He's got I don't think that he's necessarily got the money for that yet, but it won't be long before he does. And then also they got to figure out a way to get that tight end game working the way that it was last week. Ferkser, you don't really know the name at all, but he can make some catches. He's also a great blocking tight end. I look for the Titans to win this game, but don't listen to me too much on that because I'm a fan.
But play action pass is going to be huge for the Titans.
No doubt about it. You're listening to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Got a lot of great high school football going on in our area. We'll tell you what's going on tonight when we get back for the last segment of the day.
My forecast overnight, mostly clear skies, 60 to 65. Light variable winds expected. Water temperature in the Gulf, 81. Watch out for the rip currents this weekend. They're going to be kind of strong. Mostly sunny skies Saturday in the low 80s. Northeast wind about 10. Mostly clear in the low 60s Saturday night. A weather front coming in Sunday and Monday with some clouds, showers, and thunderstorms. Highs in the low 80s each day. Have a great and safe weekend. For 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida, this is meteorologist Tim Root.
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your home for the NFL.
And this crowd is going crazy.
We bring you the biggest games every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday night. Your every bone-crushing hit right here. The NFL is brought to you locally by Certified Gearhead Motorsports. Home of the $30 synthetic oil change.
Touchdown!
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Impact Promotions, along with Parkway Tire, brings you Beat Down at the Beach 21. Live MMA action and Halloween party Saturday, October 30th at Laketown Wharf. Ringside VIP tables available. To reserve your VIP table, call 691-9650. You don't want to miss this night of live MMA action. Call 691-9650 for tickets. Beat Down at the Beach 21. Sponsored by Flooring Solutions and Advantage Refrigeration and Air Conditioning. Your local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Are you concerned about safety when you travel? Emerald Coast Damsel specializes in self-protection. They offer a full line of safety products like men's and women's RFID wallets and concealed carry for purses, lifetime incidental replacement plan, and manufacturer's warranty on most items. Give the gift of self-protection and contact Michelle and Rick today, 850-358-2810, or visit their website at emeraldcoastdamsel.com. Emerald Coast Damsel, independent damsel pro for damsel in defense.
Football season is here, and the party is at Pineapple Willie's with all the big screens and speakers right at your table. Plus, with NFL Ticket, Pineapple Willie's has all the games, so you can watch the game you want. Dive into buckets of beer for the table and get half off on select appetizers every Saturday and Sunday in the football viewing area. Football and Pineapple Willie's go together like Tom Brady and winning.
Pineapple Willie's, let go. Pineapple Willie's, you can just let go.
The next evolution in sports talk radio. It's the Afternoon Underdogs. Inside the Slim Chicken studio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it so. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Welcome back into the Afternoon Underdogs. This is the last segment of the day. Got about 3 minutes and 20 seconds here. Don't forget about the Atlanta Braves and the Dodgers tomorrow, 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. The Washington football team and the Green Bay Packers will be on the air Sunday morning, 11 o'clock for the pregame, and for the kickoff, 12 o'clock noon. Now, with that Atlanta Braves game, it's going to be starting at 4:08 at this point in time. But if the Astros win tonight, the game will move to 7:08, so we'll get you to the pregame at 5:50. Yeah, 5:50, first pitch, 7:08. If not, it'll be 2:50 for the first pitch tomorrow at 4:08. That's if the Red Sox win. Red Sox win, 4:08. Astros win, 7:08. Pregame for that is 5:50. For the 4:08 game will be 2:50. Games going on in local high school football in Pensacola. We've got Milton at Escambia. West Florida's taking on Pensacola in Pensacola. Gulf Breeze is at Pine Forest tonight. Baker visits Bluntstown for a great ball game there. Bay's on the road taking on Choctawhatchee. Mosley will visit Fort Walton Beach. Navarre has a tough one with Niceville in Niceville tonight. Wonder what Kyle Albritton thinks the final score of that one will be. Wakulla is taking on Arnold at Gavlax Stadium tonight. Walton visits North Bay Haven for a ball game in North Bay Haven Stadium. I wonder if they're at Pete Edwards Field, though. Rutherford is at South Walton tonight on the road there. Vernon visits Weewaw for a game. Cottondale at Graceville. And last but not least at all, Washington at Pensacola Catholic to wrap things up tonight. Reminders to listen to win cash here for the Grand Slam of Cash. You got to listen for the code word at 8:45 a.m., 12:45 p.m., and 4:45 p.m. Take the code word, hit the website, espnpc.com, or the ESPN Northwest Florida app. Enter the code word there for your chance to win $1,000 in cash. And congratulations to the Arnold girls golf team for winning the county championship, and as well to the dive and the swim team of Arnold, boys and girls, winning their district. That's some great stuff. It's been a great week with you guys here on the Afternoon Underdogs. A lot of big games to get into when we get back. I'm not going to say what I said last week and say, this isn't the best college football week that we've ever had. But there's going to be some great games on. There always is, and I was proved wrong last week, especially when LSU had the upset there of Florida. Will they do it again against Ole Miss? Will the Braves take care of the Dodgers in Game 6 of the NLCS? And will the Red Sox be able to bounce back against the Astros tonight?
Well, I hope the Astros – I'm torn. I don't want the Astros to win tonight. But, if they do, then the game moves later. If they don't, then we don't have to – then, if they play at that 2 o'clock, then we're going to have the the shadows on the field, and we don't want to give Scherzer any kind of additional help.
Yes, sir. All right, we're out for the weekend. You guys have a great weekend. Be safe out there. Watch out for the bikes. It is Thunder Beach on Panama City Beach. We'll be back Monday at 4 o'clock. Coach James Hale and the gang will be on at 7 o'clock in the morning Monday, giving you the best of college football and high school.
.3 ESPN Northwest Florida is your chance to win cold hard cash.
Hi, this is Ernie Mello from Lynn Haven, Florida. I just won